What's up, guys? Welcome back to GoldClassGaming, and today I'm here with my YCS Fort Worth ABC deck profile. I've been working on this ABC build for months, basically ever since I posted my last ABC build. I've been working on this build that I was just working on, just trying to refine and make it as best as it could be. And then I took it to YCS. I took it to YCS for Fort Worth last weekend, and I managed to day 2 and did not make top 32 due to a game loss on round 11, which was really unfortunate. But it means that my deck got the job done, and I'll be hoping to make amends and actually get that top 32 at YCS Pasadena. But without further ado, let's hop right into the deck profile. First, you have 3 copies of A Assault Core, 3 copies of B Buster Drake, and 3 copies of C Crush Wyvern. We're playing three of our pieces at standard. It's been standard for me for a long time. And now getting into the first bit of spice, I'm making 3 copies of Tendy Spirit Vishuda. So I am playing the blind second version of the deck. So I thought that Vishuda was just a really good card, because just going second to an easy way to just bounce any card in the field. And since it bounced, as opposed to destroy like Pankratops would, it let me out stuff like Colossus or stuff on the Orcus board, since in Gear you couldn't protect against that kind of thing. So I thought that was just a better option than Pankratops was. And then for our last monster, we have Athos and Joyous Spring, just some standard hand trap ratios. I'm playing 3 more. I'm playing 3 more hand traps later on, but we'll get to those later. And then for our spells, we're playing 3 copies of Uni Hanger with our 1 copy of Terraforming. It's pretty standard by now. You're playing 4 hangers because you want to see Hanger as often as possible. And then next up, we're playing 3 copies of Mind Control. This card is absolutely insane. Like, playing against Striker, Mind Control is just broken, because you're able to just take their link monsters and then use it to just link off into your own stuff, and then just get your play going. Is just really broken. Although this is sadly the card that got me game losses and game loss round 11. So this Thursday, with the release of Dual Devastator, I'll be looking to replace these with the Ultra Rare reprints that are inside there. But Mind Control is literally insane. Next up is 3 Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, which is obviously just search out the rest of our Sky Striker engine, which consists of 3 Widow Anchor, 1 Hornet Drones, 1 Afterburner, and 1 Jamming Waves. So let me break it down a little bit. Obviously, Afterburner and Jamming Waves give me main deck spot removal for front and back row. Also, Jamming Waves was an out to Abramax. That never came up this weekend, but in my theory, it was like this card gives me a way to out Abramax, which is hard to come by. Hornet Drones for our standard link plays, and extra buys on board. Widow Anchor is just great for negation and just playing through and taking my opponent's stuff, and obviously engage. So let's as you search any of those, and it says draw 1. And then for our 1-up spells, we have 1 copy of Foolish Burial. I was using this to either send my last ABC piece if I was just one piece short for making Buster, or I would send Vishuda, and then I would be able to use his effect in the graveyard to bounce a card on their field. Monster Reborn, just for some recursion and some extension. This also helps in these Sky Striker mirror, because you'd be able to use your engage and then Monster Reborning their Kagari to add back your engage is a pretty solid play. Then for our last spell is just Upstart Goblin, just playing a 39 card deck. Also get an extra spell in graveyard to help you play further, and just help you help you increase the odds of resolving the second effects of all your Striker spells. And then for our traps, playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. This is our other hand trap of the deck. I just think Ashen Impermanence are just the best hand traps. They're just the best hand traps in the game right now. Maybe aside from like Phantasme, but when you're blinding second, Phantasme just conflicts with your Impermanence, with your Sky Striker engine, with Vishuda. Like it just conflicts with too much of my deck to make running Phantasme a worthwhile idea. But I think other than that, Ash and Perm are just incredible. Both cards were absolutely insane for me. Especially, I actually resolved the set effect of Impermanence a few times, where my opponent would try to call by the grave one of my pieces in graveyard, and then I would just use impermanence to target one of their monsters and then negate the call by the grave. That was in the same column as impermanence. And for our last 3 cards in the deck, 3 copies of Evenly Matched. So it's not a Go Second ABC deck if you aren't playing Evenly Matched. This card is absolutely unreal. Like obviously the entire strategy of the Blind Second deck is just evenly them, get them in phase 2, make Buster, you win. So my entire main phase 1 was just spent baiting out negates. You using stuff like Widow Anchor, Mind Control, Afterburners, all that kind of stuff. Just bait negates and force them to use their negations. Because then I dropped Evenly Matched, they would just have no answer whatsoever. And my theory proved correct, because Evenly was just absolutely unreal all weekend. I evenly'd so many people, and it just completely turned the game in my favor. Now off to the extra deck. We're gonna start off with 3 copies of ABC Dragon Buster. As always, this card is absolutely incredible. I would play 4 if I could. Then for our Link 3s, we have Boral Sword Dragon. Boral Sword Dragon. Sorry, for our Link 4s, we just have Boral Sword Dragon. This is just for our OTKs, just because because going second, you'd make Buster pass turn, and then they do their whole turn, and then you tag out, make a Boral Sword Dragon, and then make Buster again, and then you just kill him. Then for our next Link 3, our Link 3, we have Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. God, this card's so good. Vishuda is a level 7 monster, which means that I can make BLS with it and give it the protection effect. And BLS with its protection effect is a blowout versus like Sky Striker, because they have just no outs to that, and versus other decks. Versus a lot of other decks. Even if it's not an auto win, they still have to commit a lot of resources to outing Soldier of Chaos, and then its effect to non-target banish is just really, really useful for a lot of matchups. Then for our Nightmare package, we have 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and that is it. I'm not playing Mermaid, so I needed room for other stuff. But I thought that these 3 got the job done pretty well. Obviously, they all did their intended purpose, such as popping cards, breaking boards, and then give me extra link climbing stuff. Then we had 1 copy of Barricade Board Blocker. This card is actually really useful this weekend. I added it in last minute instead of an Underclock Taker. And this card is really good. Just give me a free discard that I could just use whenever, and then not let me discard my last ABC piece. It was really useful to have. And then also gave me the down arrow, so I could link into it, discard my last ABC piece, and then make Buster in the zone right below him. And that could be really, really useful. Next up, we have 1 copy of Land for Linkus. This card was here to help combo with Vishuda, because it meant that I could resolve Vishuda twice in 1 duel, or if I drew Foolish Burial, it would let me, or also it would let me use Vishuda without having to actually summon it. Since post turn 1, it can be a little hard to summon Vishuda. So this card gave me a way to use that. So stuff like I would like Foolish Burial to send Vishuda, make Land for Linkus, and then bounce a card, or discard Vishuda for like a Nightmare monster or Buster, then make this card and bounce a card. I actually did do that once where I used Buster's effect, discarded Vishuda, banished a card, and then I had Land for Linkus on the field, so I drew a Vishuda effect, and then bounce one card they controlled. And then to play off of Vishuda, once again, we have our Monk of the Tenyi. Oh, that's standard. This is just here to play with Vishuda, which I've already explained a lot of. Then Clara and Rushka, the standard Go Second card. You need to be playing this in a Go Second ABC build. It was really good. Got the job done. It did exactly what it was meant to. And then for our Sky Striker package, we have 1 Kagari, 1 Hayate, and 1 Shizuku. Once again, all 3 of these are really good. I like playing 3 as opposed to just like Kagari, because it makes my striker engine a little more versatile and less just like one and done. Like these 3 cards help me use Mind Control in the striker mirror to just play through their board Or there were times where if I didn't draw Uni Hanger or draw any pieces, but I just drew a bunch of spells, including like engage. I could like use engage and like that kind of stuff to like suit it, like play Sky Striker for a few turns, since I had enough Link monsters to do like a striker combo and end on like Shizuku with like 2 Widow Anchors set, and then that would be enough to help me survive like a turn or two until I drew engage. Or sorry, until I drew Uni Hanger, because then Uni Hanger was helped me get the ball rolling with ABC stuff. So that is it for my extra deck. And now lastly, onto my side deck. We have 3 copies of Artifact Lancia. So this is here for the Orcus matchup, and it's pretty standard. It's here for Orcus, but also my theory was like I'd also side it in for Grandmaju, which I didn't play, but I thought about it. But yeah, this card is great. It helped me win a lot of Orcus matchups. I played against Orcus 4 times and I never lost to it. So this card was crucial in me beating Orcus. Then next up, we have 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. This will make sense in a bit. Is game 2 versus some decks, I would side out Vishida for Cyber Dragon, and then side out a few other things. And then we have 2 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being, as well as 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More. Instead of just playing 3 Nibiru, I play 2 of each because once again Nibiru can conflict with other cards in my deck. Like engage and all kind of stuff. At the same time, it was too good to pass up. But also Dark Ruler, it did a similar job as Nibiru. It just didn't do the actual destruction of their board for me. But Dark Ruler was good because versus decks that made up a bunch of negations, I'd be able to just use Dark Ruler to negate them, and then evenly match them. Because after disabling all their negations, being able to just drop evenly match and just wipe their whole board for free was really, really good. Also, Nibiru was really good because the day before the YCS, I realized a certain interaction Nibiru has a Dragon Buster, which is if you control Dragon Buster, and then you would attempt to Nibiru your opponent. So like there was one game where my opponent made me go first. I managed to establish Buster, and I also had I had Nibiru in hand. And they did they were starting to do their combo, and then I activated on their 5th summon. I activated Nibiru, and then I chained the effect of Dragon Buster and discarded Nibiru and targeted one of their back row cards to banish. And then when the chain resolved, Buster, and it's like then on top of Buster's banish effect, I also chained his tag out effect. Because then I summoned all 3 of my pieces, I banished their back row, and then Nibiru would attempt to resolve as much as possible and would wipe the entire field, but would be unable to summon itself since it was now in my graveyard. So I would wipe their entire field, banish one of their back row, and then all of my pieces would trigger their effects since they had been tributed by Nibiru's effect. Just a really fun interaction since it just wiped their whole board, didn't even give them a token, and then just gave me a lot of card advantage when I was resolving A, B, and C. Then you have 3 copies of Twin Twister. This card's in here for back row decks or for Sky Striker. I was sided in a lot versus Striker to just pop their back row. I also sided in versus Subterror, which I played against round 1. So, but it was a good card. The same interaction with Nibiru being discarded for Buster works with Twin Twister. I never used it in that scenario, but that interaction does work. Then the last 2 cards of my side deck were Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon and Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. So my logic was, versus decks where machines were a little better, like Sky Strikers or Orcists or Cyber Dragons, that kind of stuff, I would side out 3 Vishuda and side in 3 Cyber Dragon. And then in my extra deck, I would take out Land for Linkus and Monk of the Tenyi and side in my two Chimera Techs. Because then I'd be able to just use these Cyber Dragon cards to out more of their stuff more efficiently than Vishita probably could. And there's also a pretty good theory. Cyber Dragon won me a lot of. Cyber Dragon was really good versus Cyber Orchest because they would play around Mega Fleet Dragon by absorbing the monster in their extra monster zone. I would just summon Cyber Dragon and then link off or I would contact Fuse with my Cyber Dragon and then their Infinity and their Galatea, and give me a 3K attack Fortress Dragon as well as taking out both their negations in one go, and then that like combo like normal, make Dragon Buster, make Bolster Dragon, and then just OTK them. This is a really good card. But yeah, that's it for my main side and extra deck. That is 40 in the main, 15 extra, 15 side. If you guys like this video, please be sure to leave a comment down below. And if you guys want to see more of my content, please subscribe. And other than that, I'll let you thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.